What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to a video where we are going to be discussing the best player from each overall draft pick in NBA history. So we have 60 names to talk about. We are going to go from 60 to 1, and I'm going to give you who I believe is the best player from each overall pick throughout draft history. So some draft picks had a couple names where it was hard to narrow it down to one player, but other ones it was kind of a clear number one guy at that selected pick. And without further ado, let's get into this. So coming in at the best 60th overall pick in NBA history is Isaiah Thomas in 2011. For pick 59, it goes to Cedric Toney of the 1985 NBA draft. Moving on to 58, that would be Kurt Rambis of the 1980 NBA draft. This one was pretty obvious at pick 57, and that goes to Manu Ginobili from the 1999 NBA draft. Moving over to the 2007 draft for the best 56th overall player in NBA history, that goes to Ramon Sessions. Let's go 5 years in the past for pick 55, where we're going to have Luis Scola as the best 55th overall pick in NBA history. Pick 54, that would go to Mark Blount from the 1997 NBA draft. 1 year later, Greg Buckner at pick 53 in the 1998 NBA draft. He's the best 53rd overall pick in NBA history. Moving over to pick 52, that would go to Russell Butler from the 2002 NBA draft. And then 1 year later in 2003, the best 51st overall pick in NBA history belongs to Kyle Korver. Now let's get into the top 50. Coming in at number 50 is Steve Kerr from the 1988 draft. The best 49th overall pick in NBA history is a three-time NBA champion James Jones, who was selected in the 2003 NBA draft. He might be the best player from that draft with the name James in it. The best 48th overall pick in NBA history belongs to a 2019 NBA champion Marc Gasol from the 2007 draft class. Paul Millsap has the reign as the best 47th overall pick in NBA history. He was selected 1 year prior than Marc Gasol in 2006. Jeff Hornacek from the 1986 NBA draft is the best 46th overall draft pick in NBA history. For pick 45, it came down between two players, but I ended up going with Lou Williams from the 2005 NBA draft, and the runner-up was Goran Dragic from the 2008 draft. Coming in at 44 is Malik Rose from 1996. Coming in as the best 43rd overall pick in NBA history is Michael Redd from the 2000 NBA draft class. I did give Trevor Ariza as a runner-up though. Steven Jackson holds the reign as the best 42nd overall pick in NBA history. And the Joker has the crown as the best 41st overall pick in NBA history, and he was selected in 2004 as Nikola Jokic, obviously. Coming in as the best 40th overall pick in NBA history is Monta Ellis from the 2005 draft class. So coming in as the best 39th overall pick in NBA history is a player that is 0.01 percentage away from being 50, 40, 90 in 2020, and that is Chris Middleton from the 2012 NBA class. Staying in the current modern day Eastern Conference, Spencer Dinwiddie is the best 38th overall pick in NBA history. Coming in at number 37 is Nick Van Exel from the 1993 draft class. Going 4 years prior is Clifford Robinson from the 1989 draft class, and he is the best 36th overall pick in NBA history. We got a three-time champion here at 35, and that is Draymond Green, who was selected in 2012 by the Warriors. Coming in as the best 34th overall pick in NBA history, he was selected in 2002, and he's averaged over 9 rebounds and 16 points in his 13-year NBA career, and that is Carlos Boozer. Hassan Whiteside is actually the best 33rd overall pick in NBA history, and he was selected in 2010. We got a couple former Supersonics coming up on this list, and coming in as the best 32nd overall pick in NBA history belongs to Rashard Lewis, selected by the Sonics in 1998. Moving over to pick 31, that is going to go to Danny Ainge from the 1981 draft class, and he was selected by the Boston Celtics. It was a little bit hard deciding who was the best 30th overall pick in NBA history. It was between Jimmy Butler in 2011 or Gilbert Arenas, but I ended up going with Jimmy Butler. Coming in as the best 29th overall pick in NBA history is Eddie Johnson from the 1981 draft class. We got another Spur on this list, as Tony Parker is coming in as the best 28th overall pick in NBA history, and he was selected by the Spurs in 2001. We got two current players here coming in as the best 27th overall picks, and that is going to be Pascal Siakam and Rudy Gobert, but I ended up going with Rudy Gobert as the best 27th overall pick. We got a former Spur coming in at 26, and that is George Hill, and he was selected by the Spurs in 2008. Al Harrington is the best 25th overall pick in NBA history, and he was selected in 1998. Pick 24 actually has some really good talent that was selected there, and it came down between Andre Kirilenko, AK-47, Latrell Sprewell, and Serge Ibaka, but I ended up going with somebody else, and that was another 2019 NBA champion. I went with Kyle Lowry, who was selected in 2006. We get a one-time NBA champion here with the Detroit Pistons coming in as the best 23rd overall pick, and that is Tayshaun Prince from the 2002 draft class. The 22nd overall pick in NBA history is pretty weak, but it's going to go to Scott Skiles from the 1986 class. We got a two-time All-Star coming in as the best 21st overall pick, and that is Michael Finley, who was selected in the 1995 draft. Another former Supersonic coming in on this list, and that is Gus Williams from the 1975 draft class. He's the best 20th overall pick in NBA history. Coming in at the best 19th overall pick is Tiny Archibald from the 1970 class. Moving over to pick 18, the best pick there of all time is Joe Dumars from 1985. Once again, another Supersonic coming in here at pick 17, who is Sean Kemp from the 1989 draft class. 16 is John Stockton, selected by the Jazz in 1984. So let's get here into the top 15. Coming in at 15 was tough. I thought about a little bit of Steve Nash or Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I ended up going with Kawhi Leonard from the 2011 draft class. Leonard is the only player out of those three that ended up winning an NBA championship, and he currently has 2. He's a 4-time All-Star, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year winner, and a 2-time Finals MVP. So let's get here into the lottery picks in NBA history, and coming in at 14 is one of the more underrated players in NBA history, and that is Clyde Drexler from the 1983 class. Drexler has averaged 20 points and 5.5 assists over his NBA career and was one of the more pristine passers of his era. He's a 1-time NBA champion with the Houston Rockets, and he is a 10-time NBA All-Star. Pick 13 was an easy one. This is going to Kobe Bryant from the 1996 class. Kobe is a 5-time NBA champion, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists over his career as a Laker, and is definitely a top 15 player of all time in mainly everyone's eyes. He is undoubtedly the best 13th overall pick of all time. Coming in as the best 12th overall pick is a player that played in the ABA and the NBA, and that is Julius Erving from the 1972 class. Erving is a 4-time MVP and a 16-time NBA All-Star, and Dr. J is coming in as the best 12th overall pick in NBA history. Moving on to pick 11 here, and this was a player that was a little bit before his time, and that is Reggie Miller from the 1987 draft class. Miller is looked on as one of the greatest shooters of all time, and who knows, if he played in today's generation, he could have been the greatest shooter of all time. He's a 5-time NBA All-Star and a 3-time All-NBA third-team member. Let's get into the top 10 now. We're coming in at pick 10 is Paul Pierce from the 1998 class. Pierce is a 1-time NBA champion, and when he won that NBA title, he was that Finals MVP. He's a 10-time NBA All-Star and a 4-time All-NBA member. And sticking in the 1998 draft class, the best 9th overall pick, the player selected right before Paul Pierce, is Dirk Nowitzki. Like Pierce, Dirk is a 1-time NBA champion and was the Finals MVP in that series. Dirk was also the 2007 MVP of the NBA regular season and has made All-NBA first team 4 times. Pick 8 surprisingly wasn't super talented as some of these other top 15 picks, but the best 8th overall pick in NBA history is Jack Sikma from the 1977 class. It came down between Sikma, Detlef Schrempf, and Willis Reed, but I ended up going with Jack Sikma, who is a 7-time NBA All-Star, and he was elected into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 2019. The 7th overall pick has had greats like John Havlicek and Bernard King, but I ended up going with somebody that was drafted in 2009, and that is Stephen Curry. Steph Curry is known as pretty much the greatest shooter in NBA history and someone that has revolutionized modern day basketball. Steph is a 3-time NBA Finals champion. He is a 2-time NBA MVP, and one of those MVPs was the NBA's first ever unanimous MVP award winner. Moving over here to the best 6th overall pick in NBA history is Larry Bird from the 1978 draft class. Bird is a 3-time NBA champion, a 3-time NBA MVP, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. Now pick 5. This one was so tough. You have greats like Vince Carter, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, and Kevin Garnett. So you can honestly have a debate for almost any one of those guys, but I ended up choosing Scottie Pippen from the 1987 draft class. Maybe this was a little bit of some Last Dance bias, I don't know, but Pippen is a 6-time NBA champion, a 7-time All-Star, a 6-time All-Defensive First Team member, and a 3-time All-NBA First Team member. Oh yeah, and he's in the freaking Hall of Fame. Pick 4 was pretty tough as well. You have some NBA greats like Rasheed Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo. You have a current great NBA player in Russell Westbrook, but I went with another current great NBA point guard, and I went with Chris Paul from the 2005 draft class. CP3 has averaged over 18 points and 9 assists throughout his first 15 years in the NBA. He's a 10-time NBA All-Star. He's a 9-time All-Defensive Team member, and he's been on All-NBA First Team 4 different times, and he's definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer. So the top 3 was fairly easy. Coming in at number 3 is arguably the greatest NBA player of all time. Probably is the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan from the 1984 draft class. I mean, I could really talk about Michael Jordan's accolades, but you guys have been watching The Last Dance. You know, he's 6-0 in the NBA Finals. He was Finals MVP in all 6 of those series. And yeah, you know who Michael frickin' Jordan is. Moving over to the best second overall pick in NBA history, and that goes to Bill Russell from the 1956 draft class. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you guys know the Bill Russell challenge, where you have to win 11 titles in 13 years, and 8 of those have to be in a row. Yeah, that man did that in freaking real life. He's also a 6-time NBA MVP winner, and as the best number 1 overall pick in NBA history from the 2013 draft class, Anthony Bennett. Obviously, I'm just kidding. It goes to LeBron James from the 2003 draft class. LeBron is a 3-time Finals champion, and he won Finals MVP in all 3 of those series. A 3-time MVP award winner. He's on NBA's Mount Rushmore, and you may consider him as the greatest player of all time. So yeah, that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments though, anything you disagree with, any persons that I left out off this list, or any names that kind of surprised you. Oh, I forgot he was selected there, and wow, he was actually the best player at that pick in NBA history. But yeah, if you guys can drop a like on this video, I would really appreciate it as well. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.